Hi, it's me, Jazzy. I'm back with another tech-related video, and today I'm taking a look at some more cheap and cheerful handy electronics tools and gadgets from Temu. So I've got a bumper bag of stuff here. Today's video is not a sponsored video. This is a random bag of goodies that I'm hoping will be very useful from Temu that I bought myself. Right, first up, heat shrink. Yep, I've got quite a bit in my drawer, but you can never have too much, and this was just really cheap, so I just thought I might as well pick some up while I was doing my order. Now we've got various nondescript things. Half the battle is remembering what I've actually ordered. Right, I think we're going to have to open this because I can't see what we've got in here. There's a few little boards I've ordered. Now this is a data cable detection board. Wow, so it tells me when there's a data cable nearby. No, I don't think so. I think this is a little board that you can plug your USB cables in, and it tells you if there's a problem with the cable, either with the charging or the data transfer. But do they actually work? Are they any good? Are they worth the £2 or £3 that I paid for it? Well, we'll find out. Right, what else is in my bag of goodies? Oh, what do we have here? Oh, now this, I'm really excited about this. We looked recently at some various methods of stripping wire and holding wires and various things. Now this is supposedly a multi-purpose wire stripper. Oh, it looks quite angry, doesn't it? It just needs a couple of eyes on it there. Looks like a little creature. Now it's got different sizes on each side, and supposedly it's good for stripping wires. And it comes in a little plastic sleeve to keep it in. Look at that. Is it any good? We'll get these all on the bench in a minute and find out. Is it worth getting? Is it not? Let's see what else we've got in here. Right, let's see what we've got. Now, as ever, I'm checking these out so you don't have to, unless they turn out to be good, in which case you might want to. Now this is an ATX breakout board, so this means I can plug an ATX power supply for a PC into this and get various voltages out. I've got a project in mind for this, so this, I think, hopefully, if it works, is going to come in very handy. More goodness in here. Or hopefully. What have we got here? Oh, there's a little kit. Now, we've not done a kit for a while. This is an easy kit for beginners, and it's an FM radio transmitter kit. You might remember one of my videos from a while back. I was using a Temu car FM radio transmitter to test some of my radios that I've got up here, some of which are functional, some not so much. So I'll put this together in a future video. Now, this is just an easy little starter beginner kit. If you're just getting started and you're looking for a little kit together, I know a lot of people do ask me all the time what are good little kits to get. I don't know if it's going to be a good little kit yet, but there'll be a video coming out where I'll put it together, test it, and see if it actually does what it's supposed to. What else have I got in here? Didn't have a lot of stuff in here today. That's just some cable. I just really wanted to see if it was actually any good. So this is just like figure 8 profile cable. It's just like a dual core cable. So it's really cheap, but it could be good for like little projects and stuff. Now we looked at the OmniFixo a little while ago, which was a great little idea for holding stuff. Now I love the OmniFixo, big fan of it, but if it's a little bit too rich for you, there's loads of these little ones popped up on Temu recently. Also AliExpress, Wish, Amazon, everywhere. And similar sort of principle, it just magnets on and it's got a little croc clip. Now this is not going to be as heavy duty or anywhere near the quality of the OmniFixo. The OmniFixo is great because you've got that magnetic ball bearing on the bottom and it's really stable and really strong magnet, a nice thick heavy plate. The one drawback I can see immediately from this, even though this tin is full of croc clips, is still very light. I mean, you could counter that by putting a weight, I guess, in the bottom of the tin. I'm not saying this is going to be up to the standard, but if you can't afford a more expensive one, this could be a budget option. So we'll have a look at that later. And here we go. As is traditional, there's a multimeter in the bag. Now, again, this was really cheap. I think it was about £5 or £6. And this is like a pen style multimeter. Another Aneng comes with one single test probe because the meter is the other probe. Look at this, really small. So it's just like a little pen type multimeter. You just take the tip off, so you've got one probe there, and then the other probe just plugs in the end there, and you've got some controls on the side there. I believe it's auto ranging, so we've had some experience with those. Some of them are okay, some of them are really, really not. But for £5 or £6, is it a useful thing to chuck in the drawer? Unfortunately, doesn't wake you up in the morning like the last Temu multimeter we looked at, but it could be interesting. I feel like it's a pen. I feel I'm going to write an essay with this or draw a circuit diagram. I'm pretty sure it's only a matter of time till they come out with one that's also a pen. I remember a time when it was cool to have a clock in your pen. Now, if you can have a multimeter in your pen, wow. So as always, let's get this stuff on the bench and see if it's actually any good. Okay, here's all the stuff from my latest Temu haul. So let's have a look and see what have we got. So first up, we've got this heat shrink. So this was £2.42 for 560 pieces of heat shrink. Well, I'd say that's going to keep me going for a while. So we've got all different sizes here, from big to small. I always like to keep quite a few in stock because it's so useful. I use it all the time. Especially now I've got the heat gun as well. Now we've got a little kit here. This is a DIY FM radio transmitter kit, and this came in at £4.49, and I do get asked quite a lot about cheap little kits for beginners, so I'm going to put this together in another episode and we're going to see if it works. Does it transmit anything, and can I pick it up on one of my old radios? Charging cable analyzing board. Okay, so power in is USB-C. I'll grab one of my ropey old power banks. Okay, so I've got a random lightning cable, so let's test that. So let's go type A to lightning, and we've got 4 blue LEDs. So we've got data plus and minus, VCC and ground. So we know in theory that lightning cable is absolutely fine. I've got a micro USB here, which is on the side of here from one of my crazy projects that I was doing. Let's see if this is a good micro USB. Micro USB is not my absolute favorite type of cable. To be honest, I much prefer a USB-C. So let's plug that micro USB in, and that cable is absolutely fine. Got 4 blue LEDs, we know that's a good cable. This is actually more useful than I thought it would be. Or maybe it's just me. Alright, let's try this USB-C. There we go, so we can see that's a charge cable only. That would be no good if I wanted to transfer data. That's only for charging because I've only got 2 lights. Now, I wouldn't have known that. I would have been plugging something into my PC going, why won't it transfer the data? I can see this is quite useful. Maybe it's just for forgetful people like me. It's got to be worth having in your drawer. Now, apparently the CC, which is the 5th light, that only lights up for certain types of USB-C. If it's a dual data transfer cable, which I've not experienced, if you have one of those and you connect it to this, you will get all 5 lights. But for most cable testing, you will either get 2 lights or 4 lights, depending on whether it's data or just charging. So the Aneng A3006 Digital Smart Pen Multimeter. Let's find out how smart this multimeter really is. Well, it's quite a handy size. Literally got 3 buttons, that's all you've got. Got your tip here, protective cover on it, and then your connection there for your lead, which goes in there. Take your tip off there. There we go, that's ready for go. Does come with instructions. Now, the one thing I will note is the instructions are so small on this. It's almost impossible to read them. I don't know if you can see that, but some of this text is so small. Might even have to resort to the digital microscope to be able to read some of this. Luckily enough, it's pretty simple, this. So, like a lot of these Aneng multimeters that you can get from Temu, it promises quite a lot. AC and DC voltage, resistance, capacitance, which is nice, on-off beep for continuity, you've got zero live line identification, non-contact voltage, and line breakpoint. Okay. So it just runs on 2 AAA batteries, which are not included. Okay, so once you have your batteries in, you can power on. Long press on the power button, beep, and it tells you it's in auto. Also has a peel there, that's got to go. That's better. Right. So it's in auto and you can see it's flashing some of the various functions. So the auto will pick up some of the functions like the AC/DC volts, the resistance and the continuity. As long as the resistance of what you're testing is below 50 ohms, it'll pick it up automatically. It just takes a little bit of time. If you want to use the capacitance function, you have to press this button here. And if you want to do the non-contact voltage, you press here, and a long press here apparently turns on the flashlight. It does, look at that. Oh, okay. Oh, wow, that's actually quite useful. All right. This is quite nice, isn't it? When you're out and about, you might need a multimeter that's a flashlight to go with your multimeter that wakes you up in the morning. I don't know. So anyway, long press again turns the flashlight off. It's got quite a lot. Considering this cost me just over a £5, I've got to say, it's quite a nice little gadget. I mean, I can't take it seriously in terms of a multimeter I would use every day like this one, but certainly in terms of something little to keep with you for those situations where you can just whip a multimeter out of your pocket and go, don't worry, I can check this situation. Let's do some testing with this, shall we? Let's do some DC volts, that's always favourite. Got a power supply right here. Now the one thing with this obviously is I cannot plug this into the multimeter because it doesn't have a socket here, it just has a probe. There we go, so we'll just plug that one in. One of these little crocky clips here will do the job. Just for a quick test. Right, okay, let's turn on the power supply. That is on exactly 12 volts. I'm getting 12.02. Do you know, that's not bad. It's not bad. We've had worse. We've had much worse. See if it gets any worse. What's the linearity like? 20 volts on the power supply. 20.05. Okay, not bad. Does it get worse the further I go up? Let's go up to 30. Let's give it the beans. Okay, 30 volts. Wow, okay. 30.01. That's not too shabby, is it, for a £5 meter? So, DC volts, not bad. Let's plug its test lead back in. And let's do some capacitance. So we need to press the capacitance button on the side there. That's AC, that's resistance, continuity, diode, capacitance. There we go. So you have to use that if you want to put it on manual selection. Now what I find with a lot of these meters, if you're doing something like continuity, it takes a little bit longer to get there because the auto ranging is trying to work out what it is you're doing. So being able to select these manually, that's an advantage. Now the one thing I will say with having the display on there, if you're holding that in your left hand, it's going to be upside down. Whether this is better for left or right-handed, I don't know. It's open to some interpretation, I guess. But I can see that quite clearly. It's taking its time to work out what it's doing, and it's telling me that's 4.8 microfarads, which is not bad. That is 4.7, so that's within its tolerance. So there we go. Let's try resistance, shall we? Let's test the resistor. Let's put it on auto and see if it works out what it is I'm trying to do. You can see it's cycling through the functions as it's trying. The brain of the thing is trying to work out what I'm testing. These are not connected up to anything. This is just for testing purposes. There's no reason why it shouldn't be picking that up. And it is. It's giving me 14.9 k ohms. So for a basic test, yeah, sure, not bad. All right, so continuity then, go on. If I put it on continuity manually. Oh, okay, so it doesn't give you a solid beep. So some of the functions, it seems a better idea to select manually rather than auto, which is pretty much what we found with a lot of the cheap smart multimeters. So non-contact voltage is a short press. So if I go near anything with some voltage in, yep, it's picking it up. Okay, so for £5 for something to just stick in your bag, it's actually not bad at all. So at least you've got those little protective caps. How long before you lose those if you're anything like me? I say it's quite a cool little gadget actually. It's no worse than some of the other cheap multimeters we've looked at, and the fact that it's so small but gives you quite a good functionality for a fiver, well, that's not too shabby. Plus, I just think it's kind of cool, isn't it? So next up on this Temu Spectacular, I've got some wire. Now, it's not a huge amount. It's 2-core, like figure of 8 style wire. It says it's 20 AWG silicone wire, and I believe this is 3 meters. So it's not a huge amount, but then it only costs £2.21. But this is also a good excuse to get this light wired up. I've got a filming light here just out of shot that you can't see. This wire is a really good excuse to get it hooked up. Runs on somewhere between 12 and 14 volts, so this is more than good enough for what I need, and it's only a short run. I don't actually have the correct power supply for these Godox lights, but I'm going to, in the meantime, use my bench power supply. So let me just set the voltage and current. Flick, switch, and wow! Oh my goodness me. Suddenly it's brighter than bright. So that's awesome. There we go. There's the view from above my filming light where my bench looks like it's miles down. You can see 5600K there. You've got different light temperatures, color temperatures on this. So it's a pretty cool bit of kit. It's improved the lighting above both benches. Okay, now we've got improved lighting. We've got 3 more items to take a look at. This one's already dented. Shows how thin the metalwork is. And this is the magnetic croc clips. This is described as a 12-pack magnetic base model painting clips with flexible bendable alligator clip holders for hobbyists, crafters and modelers. Okay, it's not specifically aimed at electronics, but it could be useful. So as you know, I'm a big fan of the OmniFixo, which is a great little gadget which performs a similar function to this, but is a much better quality device. It is actually really solid and it will hold whatever you're working on really well. My only concern with this one is it's really light and it'll slide around on the bench. Now, I guess that could be fixed by putting some silicone feet or rubber feet of some sort on the bottom, or even putting a bit of weight inside. But it's quite nice that the clips store inside and they're magnetic. They're not very strong magnetic. I mean, it's enough, but I think you'd have to compensate by using more clips than you would with the OmniFixo. The OmniFixo is really strong. You can see that even if I go just to bend this, the magnet's coming off the base. Now they're pretty flexible. I mean, the clips they're okay. Bit cheapy, but then again, this was, what was this, £5.38, and it comes with 12 clips. So similar premise, but you can see straight away, it's quite a heavy little board, this one. You can see straight away the magnets are not going to be strong enough on this. I saw this on Temu just after I filmed that bit with the OmniFixo, and I thought it'd be interesting to see what the comparison is like, as this is so cheap. Still, I find these magnets are just not, you're going to end up having to use more clips. See, that's still, they're still a bit weedy. I mean, it is advertised as for crafting and stuff, but actually it's kind of okay, I guess, if you're working on something small. Obviously, I'd use my PCB holder if I was working on something heavier like that. So if you were just soldering wires together, or you were doing heat shrink or something like that, then yeah, it would be good enough. It's good enough to keep around. I'm lucky enough to have the OmniFixo, but I guess this could be a budget alternative You do get 12 of those, so you're just going to have to double up on clips if they're not strong enough. But the magnets are really quite weedy, and the box is quite a thin metal. Other than that, for a £5, could be quite useful. You can never have too many pairs of hands. Right, what's next? I've got this ATX breakout board, which comes with another one of these little cases. This is something that I might make up in another video. And this is for a project that I've got in mind, so I can plug a PC power supply into this standard ATX 24 pin, and I get various different voltages out. Now this is for another little project that I've got in mind. I'm always very good at coming up with these ideas. They don't necessarily always work out, but I'm full of them. So that's that one. And the last one to look at today is this wire stripping device. Oh, that's quite convenient that I have some wire. So the idea is with this, you've got different size holes there, and it's even got the measurements on the side there, bigger size. Right, so you put the wire in, squidge, and pull. Ah, yes, okay, that seems to work. But this is if you've got 3 wires together, 3 by 2.5 mil and 3 by 1.5 mil. So if you've got some cables that are joined together. This is one of the more expensive products. I believe I paid £11 for this. This was more than the multimeter. It seems to do the trick. You know what? It's not bad. You need to put a bit of force into it. And it has got a little... Oh, this is so you can empty out all the little bits. Look at that. I've got to say, it's quite cute. I feel like it needs some eyes on the front. It's got big jaws. Just a case of finding the right one that fits. So I guess you're going to need more force on the bigger the wire, but how easy is that? I've got to say, that's quite good. I mean, I've been using these Kaiweets ones, which I've got to say, pretty handy. They're all right. Quite bulky though. That's quite neat. I quite like that. And to see how long it stays sharp before you're going to need, it's going to go dull at some point, isn't it? So I've got to say, I actually quite like it. It's quite a nifty little gadget. It looks cool. I like the fact you can tip little bits out and you've got a little box to keep it in. Very handy. Okay, I quite like that one. So there we go, all sorts of handy tech-related tools and gadgets from Temu. As usual, some of them great, some of them not so much. I've got to say, this time around, I'm quite impressed with this whole, there's actually some quite useful stuff here. The one thing I do love about picking up a few little tech gadgets from places like Temu or Wish, AliExpress or Amazon means you can pick up some little bits and bobs quite cheaply. And I've got to say, it's quite fun for me going through and testing them all, and hopefully it's useful for you so you know which ones to buy and which ones to avoid. I've certainly had fun taking a look at them, and I hope you have too. So massive thanks to everyone for watching, sharing, liking, commenting and subscribing. It's always hugely appreciated. I'll be back soon with some more videos on test gear repairs, electronics kits and retro gaming. In the meantime, take care and I'll see you on the next one.